Hey folks, Pat Powers with Dakota Campaign Store here to talk to you about yard and highway signs today. Give you a little information on what they cost in money and what they cost in time. And time is an important portion of this. When you have a 4x6 sign printed, from a blank piece of plastic, on average, that sign takes about 20 minutes per side. And if you're putting in any substantial order, keep in mind most signs you're printing on both sides. So when you're taking 20 minutes per side times 2 for a two-sided sign, 10 signs times 2 signs times 20 minutes, you're looking on average at about 6.6 hours of press time. So in printing your campaign signs, the early bird sometimes gets the worm because after a certain point, it gets to become like you've taken a trip to Disney and you're in line and you're in the queue and you're going through waiting for the person ahead of you to get on that ride and get out of there. So it's a good idea. Get your orders in early, and a lot of signs orders are taking 2 to 3 weeks especially if they're of any size. So it's a good idea to plan early if you know you're going to be placing them. Also, with regards to signs, talking about yard signs, a lot of people ask about the sign, and they don't realize that one of the components of what a sign costs is the stake. A lot of campaigns who've been around, they have a supply, or they know somebody. They can beg, steal, or borrow these. But there's the two types of stakes that people use for their yard signs. You have what's called the economy stake, which is a $2 wire stake, and it's welded in 4 places. Does a good job. Their only downfall can be sometimes South Dakota wind, where if they're in a windy area and they get twisting, there are times the welds can break. So that's very common to that product. So it's always a good idea to maybe not put them all out at once and to have a supply of extras, and the wires can be easily replaced. The other side to that coin is the heavy duty stake that looks like a football goalpost. The heavy duty stake, it's heavier wire, heavier welds, and they tend to not fail as often. They're not infallible, but because there's welds on it just like every other place. But I had a sign in my front yard that went through the derecho that had one of these on it, and it stayed there despite 100-mile-an-hour winds. I was pretty impressed. The heavy-duty stake right now, it's running at about in quantity at about $4.35 each. Depending on the number of signs you get and the number of stakes, that price can come down slightly, but this is the heavy-duty stake, and we're selling a lot of them this year. People are interested in having something that they don't have to go mess with, and we're in this primary season where winds tend to be a little higher. For the campaign signs too, I would tell candidates, they're just like any other plastic. It can be a little brittle if it's bitter cold, so while it might be a good idea to think about getting things moving to get them in production, if it's 10 below out, don't go putting your signs out yet, because you may not have a good result. But for all their faults, campaign signs are really one of the primary ways that people communicate their message to voters in South Dakota because of our distances. And when you're doing signs, I always tell people, make sure your text is big and bold. The signs have to pass what we've always called the 30-55 test. If you're driving at 30 miles an hour in town, you have to be able to read that sign in a second. If you're driving at 55 out on the highway, same thing. The text has to be big enough you can read it in a second. Going by, you don't have to stare at it. You don't have to guess. You want that sign to be instantly communicating that message. That means big graphics. That means high contrast. But, I can tell you, if you come to Dakota Campaign Store, we can help you with all that and get your message out to your voters. Right now, the sign traffic is lighter, but it is picking up. So if you're thinking about getting started on your campaign and you want to get your signs moving, give me a call, 605-690-6853, or send me an email message at pat@dakotacampaignstore.com. And again, this is Pat Powers with Dakota Campaign Store, bringing you helpful information for your campaigns and your advertising needs during the 2026 election season. Thank you.